How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to 2A News Now. And here at 2A News Now, you get your Second Amendment news straightforward and to the point with no BS added in. The First Circuit Court has revived a liability lawsuit brought by Mexico against numerous gun companies. If I'm not mistaken, Mexico twice has tried to sue American gun companies, saying they're liable for the deaths that are happening in their country by gun violence. But it's not like they're shipping guns across the border. They make their guns legal here in the United States, and they're trafficked into Mexico. Thus, there's no liability to those gun companies. But in a suspiciously timed decision, a 3-judge panel on the First Circuit Court of Appeals on Monday revived the lawsuit filed by the Mexican government against more than a half a dozen of the firearm industry's biggest players, giving the gun control groups a major, though hopefully temporary, victory. The opinion overturning U.S. District Court Judge F. Dennis Saylor IV's order throwing out the lawsuit came as tens of thousands of industry members gathered in Las Vegas for the start of the 2024 Shooting Outdoor Trade Show, better known as SHOT, and is a shot across the bow of companies like Glock, Beretta, and Smith Wesson. The decision will most likely be appealed, is one of the most significant setbacks for gun makers since the passage of a federal law nearly 2 decades ago that has provided immunity from lawsuits brought by the families of people killed and injured by their weapons. Mexico, in an attempt to challenge the reach of that law, sued 6 manufacturers in 2021, including Smith Wesson, Glock, and Ruger. It contended that the company should be held liable of the trafficking of 500,000 guns across the U.S.-Mexico border a year, some of which were used in murders. In September 2022, a federal district court judge threw out the suit, ruling that the law prohibits legal action brought by foreign governments. But Judge William J. Cayada Jr., who just so happens to be an Obama appointee, who serves on the U.S. District Court of Appeals for the First Circuit Court, writing for a unanimous majority, revived the lawsuit. The ruling said that the plaintiffs had made a plausible argument that their case was statutory exempt from the immunity shield the administration of Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, aided by longtime gun control activist Jonathan Lowy and his outfit Global Action on Gun Violence, isn't just accusing the firearms industry of willfully allowing guns to be trafficked across the border to Mexico, but goes so far as to claim that the gun companies know or otherwise remain willfully blind to the fact that their civilian semi-automatic firearms are easily converted into automatic weapons, and the semi-automatic design of the guns they produce is attentional and attractive to criminal organizations. In other words, this is an attack on semi-automatic firearms in general, and I guarantee you this is being orchestrated by the Biden White House, including those that never crossed the border into Mexico. In addition to the $10 billion judgment, that's right, not $10 million judgment, $10 billion judgment, the Mexican government is demanding, the AMLO administration is also calling on the courts to order the defendants, among other things, incorporate all reasonably available safety mechanisms into their guns, including devices to prevent use of those guns by unauthorized users, fund studies, programs, advertising campaigns, and other events focused on preventing unlawful trafficking of guns. Enter an injunction against the defendants, requiring them to take all necessary action to abate the current and future harm that their conduct is causing and would otherwise cause in the future in Mexico. Award damages to the government in an amount to be determined at trial. Award civil penalties to the government as permitted by law, and award the government restitution and disgorgement of defendants' profits. If the Mexican government were to get its wish, not only would the firearms industry be gutted financially, but the vast majority of firearms produced by U.S. manufacturers could soon be off limits for sale and production. I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories, but in the end, a lot of them are true. But the timing of the First Circuit's decision seems awfully suspect. The case was appealed to the First Circuit in October of 2022, and the panel happened to finish its opinion just in time to coincide with the start of the firearm industry's biggest annual gathering. It's not just what the panel's decision has to say that reeks of political activism, but when it was released as well. A representative for the National Shooting Sports Foundation told New York Times that the group respectfully and profoundly disagrees with the panel's decision and is weighing its options to appeal, and added that the Mexican government should spend its time enforcing its own laws and bring Mexican criminals to justice in Mexico courtrooms instead of scapegoating the firearm industry for their inability and unwillingness to protect Mexican citizens from the cartels. But the current Mexican administration will never do that. They want to blame the lawful commerce in arms in the United States for the violence perpetrated by the cartels south of the border, even though the Mexican government has admitted that those cartels are even acquiring military weaponry like belt-fed machine guns, rocket launchers, and grenades, not found in any gun store in the United States. Meanwhile, the gun control lobby is happy to blame the actions of cartel members on the U.S. gun companies, just as they blame them for the actions of violent criminals here at home. Neither group are actively trying to put an end to the drug cartels, who are responsible for tens of thousands of American deaths each year. Their goal is the utter annihilation of the firearm industry, and in turn, our ability to exercise our Second Amendment rights. No matter how you look at this is completely wrong. And what the First Circuit Court did was unconstitutional. And what's going to happen, this will be appealed, and will go before a higher court. And hopefully that judge will throw this out and rule it unconstitutional. And like I said earlier, this is all being orchestrated by the Biden White House so they can push their gun control agenda. As always, I'd really like to hear your thoughts about today's video in the comments section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, or if I gave you some information you didn't know, or if you want to help the channel out and help it grow even further, please just take a couple of seconds of your time to like, share, and subscribe and hit those post notifications. I really would appreciate it. And I invite all of you to come back and watch my next video.